What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to Don't Fake the Funk, episode number 20 on October 20th, 2014. And just in the beginning, right away, sorry about Lucas not being here. He's on a short vacation in Austria, and he has some internet problems, I guess, because I couldn't reach him. So he's gonna be on next time for sure. Um, and our special guest today is Brian, aka Wheelchair Jiu Jitsu, a good friend who's been on the podcast before, 10 months ago on episode number 4, actually, and was a very, very great episode. And I'm glad to have him on here again. So, what's up, Brian?
Hey, what's up? I'm glad to be on here, man. Repeat offender.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and a lot of stuff happened in your BJJ career, so to say, since then, right? Like
Yeah,
exciting news a couple months ago.
yeah. It's almost like every day's been exciting since then. My train, I really I moved past the private lessons and got adjusted to training in regular classes with the adaptations that I had to make. And man, it's like every day I exceeded what I thought I could do. So, and then now here I am. I'm a blue belt. I've been in 3 tournaments. It's awesome.
Yeah, but not just a blue belt. You're a blue belt under Renzo Gracie, so that's pretty.
Yeah,
That's
it was a big
awesome.
uh yeah, it was a more than an honor. Yeah,
Oh, I can
but
imagine.
it was a crazy experience.
So, I saw on your Twitter on your profile that your team Hoist Gracie, but you also train under Renzo, right? Or do you also or train at some point with a Hoist?
Well, I've trained at under 2 hoist black belts from day one.
Okay.
Here where I'm at, and I'm at a team hoist school. But Henzo has followed my training and everything pretty much since day one. Um, he's uh, he's been there to help me out, and I guess he's just taken a personal interest in me, and we're kind of tight. It's pretty awesome, and he's just a cool guy. He helps me out. My daughter and
That's
Uncle
awesome.
Henzo,
Oh yeah.
and so it worked out for him to come out to Charlotte, and I went and trained with him. And I did a private with him, and so I had like 4 hours with him, in person finally for once, and at the end of the seminar, uh, the owner of the school, he had 3 people he wanted to promote, 4 people, I can't remember, to blue belt. Um, while Henzo was there, so they did that, and then I was like, this is pretty cool, and just watching these dudes get promoted, and having Henzo Gracie tie their belts, on
Fuck
them.
yeah.
And then it was done, and Henzo was like, okay, I have one of my own, come on up here, Brian, and I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? It was just, you know,
Big
I just,
surprise.
I crawled over there, and I stood up on my knees, and he was on his knees in front of me, and he was like, I'm very impressed with your jujitsu, my brother. So,
Wow.
you know, and I got back, I immediately, text my coaches. I'm like, Henzo gave me a blue belt. And, they were like, wow, that's badass. You don't really get any more badass than that.
Fuck yeah.
So, um,
That just shows there's a possibility to do jiu-jitsu no matter, if you have some disability or whatever, you can still achieve a lot, hard work and just making jiu-jitsu work for you, like
yeah,
doing the stuff that works for you and applying techniques and training maybe in a little bit a different way than other people, but making it your own. It's not like a strict system where only this works and this works. You can kind of choose the path you wanna go and use techniques that work for you. And you've been
you
working
know that.
hard, man. I saw pictures all the time. You training, competing. So must be a huge honor, to get this blue belt. I'm really very
It,
happy
it
for you. When I saw that, man, I was fucking, I was excited for you.
yeah, yeah. I still just kind of giggle and laugh, when I start thinking about it because it was just so surreal. It was awesome. And then at the same time, in the back of my mind, it was like just a few weeks before my second tournament, and I had found out in my first tournament that I lacked the ability to like jog and really beef up my cardio, and so I gassed out pretty quick, at that tournament pace. So I had got my hand cycle and really beefed up my cardio, and I was ready to go do some work, in the white belt division, and then all of a sudden I get my blue belt, and
Yeah,
I'm like, man.
that's a whole.
So that was in the back of my mind, yeah. And then I got to the tournament, and they had nobody in the intermediate division in no gi, and I'd really not done any no gi, not even training. I've done pretty much everything in the gi. So I was like,
Mhm.
fuck it, I'm gonna do no gi. They were like, your only opportunity to have any matches is in the expert division. I'm like, well, okay, I came here to fight. Let's do it.
Wow.
And so, you know,
Basically, like competing in absolute division, kind of no belt level, really, or
yeah. It
weight,
was like,
no weight class too.
well, like my coach. He's a black belt under Hoist. He was in my division, in my bracket, at
Oh,
the tournament.
man.
I'm like, fuck. So yeah, I paid to go fight, and I wanted to go and have some matches and have some fun, and it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
Mhm.
I survived a college or lifelong wrestler, and now he's a college wrestling coach. And I went 5 minutes or 4 minutes with him, whatever it was.
Lost by points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's still for me, losing by points. It's not really that much of a big deal.
no,
It's always kind of it doesn't mean that your defense. It kind of means your defense is on point at least. So
with about 15 seconds left, I locked up a Darce from the bottom. I do a Darce
from
from bottom side,
from bonus side.
and
Oh, awesome. Nice.
yeah, and but before I could kind of get him rolled to his side to finish it, the time ran out. But
Uh,
so it was if I would have done that maybe 15, 20 seconds earlier, if I could have gotten it then, I might have could have actually finished it. But it was a big victory for me just to be out on the mat. I'm 40 and paralyzed.
yeah, not get tapped in like 30 seconds. That because
Yeah.
first tournament, if you get a little too excited, it can easily happen. That you get caught. And I know exactly what you mean about like being a white belt and then getting your blue belt and going up in the blue belt division, because you just got your blue belt, and if you compete against a blue belt with like 3 or 4 stripes, that's a whole different level. Someone
Yeah,
almost a
it really is.
that's a whole different level. Because I just got in August, end of August, actually one day before my birthday, got my purple belt, and then was about to compete this month, like 2 weeks ago, in Spain. My team,
Uh-huh.
my teammates went down there. I had a little bit of a knee problem earlier this year, but yeah, it was all good again. Perfect to train. I trained a lot and was about to compete in the purple belt division. And I had the same feeling as you had, like, oh shit, now I gotta go against purple belts, fuck. But then, when was it, like 3 weeks ago, I had a little problem with my appendix, so I had surgery and had that removed. And
That sucks, man.
yeah,
I'm glad you're doing all right.
yeah, I'm good now, but just kind of like an emergency surgery and had it removed. I can't really do anything right now, not even, because it's like a cut through my abs and flexing it, like it still hurts a little bit, and gotta make sure it heals properly.
Fuck yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Well, take it easy, man. You can train your mind. Watch videos.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot, and like visualizing techniques is very important too for me. Like that you know exactly in your mind, every movement. That's very important for me.
Yeah, yeah. I do a lot of that. I'm for a long time. I tried to do techniques that you can do with the mobility that I have, traditional techniques, and I try to do them the traditional way, and I can do them in drills, but not really against a lot of resistance. So I got to the point where I realized I really needed to adapt these techniques to my body, to my limitations,
Mhm.
to all that. So I've had to kind of explore in my mind things that other people don't do. Like I try to have people take my back, and I
Oh
fight
yeah,
from there.
I saw a video of
Yeah.
that. Very impressive. You had a guy like basically let him take you back, and you defended the rear naked choke, like putting his hands away, like hand fighting a little bit. And then you got
hmm
him like in a wrist lock, very sneaky.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a nice move.
I can set up the wrist locks, and I have some arm locks, and I actually have a way I can pin the arm that I'm laying on and reach under and get a lapel choke, which is
Nice.
kind of cool. But just I'm playing in a world that is kind of unexplored. I guess
Oh
most
yeah.
people try to escape. I'll I'll just you know throw my back at you.
People maybe don't expect it and don't see it coming. You know about wrist locks? Um, I've been in tournaments where they're not allowed, which is kind of a bummer because it's like a legit weapon for me, at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I'm doing a tournament November 8th, and they're not allowed in the gi. So I started yesterday not doing any wrist locks until after the tournament, just because of that. But yeah, they are.
mhm. I mean, I can see why because it's kind of easy to fuck up a wrist. It's not that hard.
Yeah, yeah, they go from 0 to like 100.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah.
no,
Quick tap.
there's not a lot of, yeah, not a lot of middle ground.
But you can get it from everywhere. I saw a black belt in a tournament, some black belt division. A guy from bottom mount. He was mounted and he got it from the bottom, like a wrist lock, you know, because the guy like made a little mistake and he kind of locked up his hand and wrist lock from bottom mount. This can happen.
I, I do I came up with I actually fight most of the time from bottom side or bottom mount or with somebody on my back. That's just I rarely get to a dominant position, and if I get in somebody's guard, I just fall over immediately. I pick a side that I need, whichever side I need to fall to, and I play from there. Because when I get in somebody's guard, I have a really hard time fending off like triangles and stuff because my base
Oh
sucks.
yeah.
So I just fall over and play. I play from really weird, odd positions.
Hmm.
And but yeah, I have a couple of wrist locks I do when someone's mounted on me. I love the look on somebody's face when they're tapping.
Yeah,
They
it
mount you and
hurts.
then they get wrist locked and they're tapping.
Oh yeah. That's about. They're like, yeah, I'm about to win this, and then boom, yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that from there. Well, you're not supposed to let me do that from there.
Exactly. Yeah. People don't expect it. Maybe it's such a
Yeah.
little sneaky move, but it's legit.
But I mean, I could fight for a top position, and I used to do that, but it took every bit of I couldn't do it efficiently. It
Hmm.
took like every bit of my energy. So I'm like, no, if this is all about conserving energy and doing things efficiently, I need to learn to go ahead and accept the fact that I'm outmatched in this part of the fight and learn to be better where I can fight more efficiently. So
See, that's making it your own, because you can't really use your legs like in a guard or half guard, right? Like it doesn't really.
yeah, if when I do play, if I do, I for one, I don't really have the speed or agility to get to guard. But if I do get to guard, because I can play guard like with like some newer white belts and stuff, but my even then my guard's so easy to pass. I
Yeah.
just don't have, I don't really have a way other than with my arms, controlling like lapels and sleeves.
Hmm.
But with my legs don't offer up a lot of
You can't
resistance.
really defend the pass anyway, so might as well let them let them in like side control or whatever immediately, right? Like,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
But you see that you saw, I think it was Metamoris 1, the very first or the second one when Hiron Gracie fought Andre Galvao.
yeah. That was
You
awesome.
saw that because he did like similar stuff. He let him in side control and just laid there with his legs like straightened out, and then tried to bait him to go into mount and roll him over. Because Hiron is so good at defending the mount, you know, and reversing and doing sweeps from there. It was very impressive to see that Andre Galvao, he wouldn't get to mount because he knew he was gonna get swept. So
Yeah, I really, I like, I got a lot of inspiration from that match.
mm,
Just that I don't have to try to fight like everybody else. I don't have to try to be like the aggressor. I don't have to, I just have to make it my own. I think that's what's beautiful about jujitsu,
yeah, exactly. There's
for sure.
so many ways to do stuff. And just recently, I think I saw you tweeting about you listened to it as well. Higan Machado on Joey Diaz Church of What's Happening Now.
Yes,
He said
that was an awesome
this was,
episode.
and Higan he said that even from white or blue belts, he sometimes sees little details that they do in a move. And he's like, oh, you know, that's another way to get there, to get to this position or do this submission. There's like a little detail that's a new possibility, because it's always important to have a couple ways to do things because people get used to it and start defending it all the time. So you need like a different setup or kind of like a fake attack and then go for something else and just get there on a different way.
My coach, he refers to it as you always give your opponent uh, you don't give them a problem, you give them a predicament.
Mm-hmm.
If you give them a problem, then there's going to be a solution to it. Whereas if you put them in a predicament, they're going to go. But you're going to basically, if they stay where they're at, they're going to get choked. If they move here, they're going to get arm locked.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't move, they're going to get choked. It's like no matter what they do, it's bad. So he teaches kind of that same concept, and of finding the different paths. They like watching, and they've got me watching the kids. Like the little kids when they grapple, because they do things that nobody else does. Because it's new to them. And they can be creative, and it's amazing to watch how they escape positions and stuff. I put my little girl in crazy positions just to when we're on the mat, and just to see how she escapes them, and it's crazy
Yeah,
because you'd think being in that position there's no way to escape, and those kids just you're like wow.
comes natural to some people, some
Yeah,
figuring a way to defend yourself and escape. And what you said about this, if you threaten with a rear naked choke and then the guy defends the choke and you like spin out for an armbar or whatever, it's kind of, my coach always says, it's the goal that your opponent never feels safe, that he doesn't have a position where he feels safe. So
right.
it's always, you have to watch out all the time, like be aware. And because like this kind of, we trained this a lot recently, like chain submissions, where you go from like omoplata to armbar, triangle, like just keeping this chain going. If he defends the armbar, you're going for the triangle, and then maybe omoplata, and then from the omoplata maybe taking the back, and stuff like that. Like always being aggressive and attacking. Because for me, in jiu-jitsu, what's the most important part to make it more popular for me is submissions and getting submissions
Yeah,
aggressive. That's
yeah. Nobody cares about points.
no one. Fuck that. I'm all for
Yeah,
submission only, no points tournaments where not getting a submission is basically losing.
yeah,
No winner if there's no submission. For me,
yeah. I agree.
that's
Yeah,
a,
it's a draw.
oh yeah, no winner. I mean, it's a little bit harsh maybe that in a tournament, if two guys don't get a submission, they're very good, and then both are out of the tournament. But you know,
It's like the points for me going into a tournament, it's just really stacked against me and my style. I can't be aggressive, like super
yeah.
aggressive, and play that points game. And I have to play a more patient game. So submission, but where I'm at, there's only been one submission only tournament close by this entire year. So next year I'm gonna find a submission only tournament to do to see how I do. But when I only have 4 minutes and I have to play, I have to play a patient game. I have to defend and I have to try to make you make mistakes and I have to look for mistakes. I have to look for my openings. I can't just really impose my will.
Hmm.
So it does kind of suck for me a little bit, but I don't really think about that. I don't worry about that at all. It really doesn't play into my mindset of how I compete or anything. When it all comes down to it, 90% of the time when I train, I feel like shit. I'm I'm hurting some way physically or dealing with something with my health, and I feel like shit. So I have to play. I have to learn a technical game, and
Oh yeah.
to do what I do. And but then when I do have good days and I feel great, and it's like my training partner's like, "Wow, man, you don't even feel disabled today." Wish it was like that every day, but
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 that
it's just a beautiful art. It just allows anybody to get out there and
hell yeah.
make it their own. You know.
And that's also really the original old school spirit of jiu-jitsu, the patient game and kind of waiting for your point to attack. And that's what Hickson Gracie also said on Joe Rogan's podcast, that nowadays it's too much of a sport. Like
Yeah.
almost like with judo, there's so many little fucking rules, what makes it like so slow and so hard to watch. And jiu-jitsu is almost becoming like that. That it's too much, too many little rules. You get an advantage there for doing some half-ass pass, not even like a real pass, just like almost. And it's you see that people don't get interested in just seeing it when someone just gets one position and holds on.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. When you see the Metamorphs matches where there are no points, it looks just like a totally different sport
yeah,
compared to
oh yeah.
like a 3 or 4 minute points match. Just seems like a different sport.
And have you seen
You get to see more the beauty of it, or the flow.
definitely like at Eddie Bravo's Invitational? He did like two of those, like 16-man tournaments, I think. And I think
Hmm.
of those matches, like 90% are submissions.
Yeah.
But it's also their style, like no gi, very aggressive, but they go for it. There's no points, no, only submission counts. And then,
And I like the way he has overtime at
oh,
the end to
exactly,
make sure there's a submission.
exactly. Like one guy takes the back, and then it counts like for if you get the submission, you get the rear naked choke, or your opponent escapes, and it goes like 4 times, I think, something like that. But it like encourages to get the submission. It's a very big focus on it. Makes it a lot more exciting for me.
That would actually play into my favor because that's the position I like to
Oh
play.
yeah,
Somebody on my back.
you're going to wrist lock motherfuckers.
I have a lot of arm bars that I do more arm bars than wrist locks.
But like the straight armbar, or how do you?
Yeah, straight arm bars. Get Kimura grips. I have an arm bar where I kind of get up high and I wrap under your arm and I come across and grab my gi, my lapel, anywhere to hold it tight, and then basically just push your hand to the mat and
Oh,
just lots of little arm bars like that. I found some ways to
like
just
a Russian style straight armbar, kind of where you lock it under your armpit. This kind of stuff.
yeah, those,
Okay.
that across my shoulder, across my head. Yeah, it's almost like countless ways. I really, instead of looking for, instead of trying to think of a particular technique to develop, I think more about the principle of it, which is basically just bending your arm past where your elbow wants you to, and I kind of play that way, if that makes sense. I think more about the principles behind what a choke is or what an arm lock is,
Mm.
and it to open my eyes, because I'm usually in bad positions, and I'm usually in positions where people only try to escape.
Mm.
And whereas, for me, just I can't really UPA. Someone mounts me,
Oh yeah.
my escapes are very, very limited. So I could sit there and waste all my energy and gas out trying to do an UPA when I can't. Or I can, figure out a way to fight, figure out a way to get a submission with someone on top of me.
Mm.
Wrist locks, arm locks. It's a really funny look on someone's face when you cross collar choke them and they're mounted on you, because nobody
Oh yeah.
really expects it. But
But if you got a strong grip, it can happen. It happened to me too. That some purple belt, brown belt, they get like this crazy grip, and if you were like a little lazy for 2 3 seconds, you get this fucking this fucking grip around your neck, and it's night night if you don't tap. It goes
yeah,
quick.
yeah.
And just to get back to your mestre, basically your sensei, Renzo Gracie, big announcement a couple of weeks ago that he's gonna compete at Metamoris 5 against Sakuraba, which is
Yeah,
that's fucking amazing. And just
that's
asking you,
really exciting.
did you know anything about it before it was like public, or did he?
No,
No,
no.
he he kept it a little secret probably.
Yeah, he stays so busy, so busy. I think he only sleeps a few hours a night.
Oh yeah, I heard it on MMA Hour. He said he sleeps like 2 3 hours a night, and then he's like wide awake, ready to go. He got so much energy, man. That's awesome to see. He seems such a great guy. Seriously.
Yeah, he's got a different presence about him.
Mm. And what was I gonna say? Oh, about Sakuraba. Yeah, that's a great rematch. It's the first one was MMA, but it's still considered a rematch.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
like everyone, I guess everyone who's into MMA, like the kind of old school fans, they know what happened in the first one. Everyone probably has seen this picture. Renzo has arm kind of
Yeah.
staying in this fucked up position, you know. But
I don't know anything about what Sakuraba's been up to in the last
on
however many years. Oh,
he's been. I'm just looking at it right now. He had some MMA fights, but the last one was in September of 2011, and he lost 4 MMA fights in a row. Like
ooh.
his last win was in 2009. So he's been on a bit of a losing streak. But
Mm.
for me that doesn't mean much, because it's like in a grappling match, no punches. That's
Oh yeah, totally different. Yeah.
like maybe he doesn't have that much of a great chin anymore. He can't take a punch anymore. But does come into play in this one. So it's gonna be awesome to see how. Especially, I'm really curious to see what Hanzo was going to bring to the table.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I know when I trained with him in May, I mean he's solid, He's
Can you imagine?
he's he's not, he's not out of shape.
He must be training like crazy right now, right? He must be,
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine what kind of shape he's in right now.
because speaking of like Gracie's, when Eddie Bravo fought, what's his name?
Hoyler?
Hoyler, this rematch. I was kind of disappointed in Hoyler's approach a little bit, because it didn't really seem like he had a good strategy, in my opinion. And I feel like Enzo's game might be a little more polished and uh, like a more modern game, not that kind of trying to do what he's always been doing, like Hoyler, this knee on the belly pass kind of thing, knee slide. He kept trying that, and if you looked at Eddie's game, it's just a bad idea, to do that against Eddie, like especially like playing in his half guard, and uh, I feel like Henzo was probably a little more focused on still developing his game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying for sure.
So I don't think Sakuraba will win this one. Actually, I don't see it.
Now I think Henzo is going to have I mean, I think he's always got a certain fire inside of him that
Mm.
most men don't have. But I think for this rematch, I feel like he's going to be extra fired up. You know.
Oh yeah, this is a huge motivation for him to avenge that loss. Because there's pretty much no way to lose in a worse way than he did against Sakuraba in this first. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know the story behind that, I highly recommend the documentary Legend.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's an awesome documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, Enzo's the man, and this whole Metamoris card of Metamoris 5, I'm just looking at the card. Gary Tonin, Zach Maxwell, that's an exciting match. Gary Tonin is fucking, he's very exciting to watch and really good. Vinny Magalhaes against Kevin Casey. Kevin Casey, Rickson Gracie, black belt.
Yeah. King.
Yeah, exactly. Yuri Simoes against Rafael Lovato Jr. Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty good. And then UFC fighter Rory McDonald against JT Torres. Really interested to see how Rory McDonald's straight jiu-jitsu grappling is.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that part of Metamoris. With like Josh Barnett
Mm-hmm.
and Chael Sonnen.
Hell yeah.
And, bringing some some names like that into like the jiu-jitsu world. And yeah, I'm really enjoying those matches. See how they play out.
Yeah, exactly. And you know who I want to see in Metamoris? BJ Penn.
Man, yeah.
That would be so awesome. Maybe you can
Versus who?
someone.
Versus who?
Wow. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Henzo's gonna compete in a super match at ADCC against Matt Hughes, right?
Yeah, like next September or something.
Yeah, because I was thinking BJ against Matt Hughes at Metamoris, but I don't know. Who else? George St. Pierre against BJ Penn at Metamoris?
Man.
Jesus, that would be wild.
Yeah. BJ versus anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody, really.
Yeah. Maybe that'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a connection to the Gracie family in some way. So maybe they can convince him to. I mean, BJ is the kind of guy who always seems like he still got that fire inside him. He wants to compete, but he just couldn't hang anymore in MMA, really.
Yeah.
But maybe jiu-jitsu is different. He won't get beat up and stuff. So that's a way to compete. Then I got the UFC 179 next Saturday, because people are always interested in like hearing a little bit of a breakdown on predictions of the card or the main event and co-main at least. So real quick into this one. In Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, next Saturday, UFC 179. Co-main event, Phil Davis against Glover Teixeira. What do you think?
Ooh. Obviously, I think if Glover keeps it on the feet, Davis. Glover's hands are so heavy.
Oh yeah, he got crazy. Uh,
it's an interesting matchup. You know, Davis's wrestling's no joke, so he may be able to.
Also submissions, like he's
Yeah,
pretty solid on the ground, very creative. Phil Davis last fight against Anthony Johnson, he lost by decision and got kind of dominated there. And Teixeira's last fight against John Jones in the title fight, lost.
yeah,
Also got dominated. So both coming off a loss. Yeah, and I'm kind of on the same boat. I kind of feel the same as you. If and I think Glover will keep it on the feet most of the fight, and he's gonna land big shots. I think. So
yeah.
I'd say probably Glover by decision.
And you know, Glover fought most of that John Jones fight with his shoulder jacked
Oh
up.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Jones
and
cranked his shoulder there really bad.
so it's kind of hard to look at that performance, and you know,
Mhm.
I guess he really wasn't 100% during that fight. You know, so I you know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm like you. I think Glover hits pretty hard.
Yeah, so does Anthony Johnson, and Davis didn't go down, So
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I'm picking Glover by decision this one. Let's then the main event. Whoa, that's a grudge match right there. Jose Aldo against Chad Mendes, the rematch.
Yeah,
First fight, very controversial. I think 2 years ago, also in Brazil. Chad Mendes kept going for takedowns. Aldo defended, and then near the cage, Mendes went for, I think, a single leg takedown, and Aldo just grabbed the cage. It was like midair, and so avoided the takedown by grabbing the cage, and just got a warning from the ref. And shortly after, like a couple seconds before the round ended, Mendes shot for a takedown. Aldo turned around and hit him with a knee to the face and knocked him out cold. So kind of a bummer for Mendes there, you know.
yeah,
It was like a little controversial. So that's a good rematch because Mendes has really improved a lot since, Alpha Male training with Dwayne Ludwig. Really improved striking. And Aldo really, in his last couple fights, a little bit on the playing it safe side, maybe, not really finishing.
yeah.
Very interesting fight. Who you got in this one?
Ooh. Until somebody actually beats Aldo, I guess I have to go with him. But man, yeah, you're right. Mendez really gave him a fight, and he has improved a lot. And I think Mendez might have a little. Well, you know, he's probably going to have the mindset of wanting to prove that he should have won.
Yeah.
And Aldo wants to probably prove, hey, grabbing the cage had nothing to do with it.
Mm.
That's a hard one to.
That's for me too. That's a very hard one.
Yeah.
And
it's in Brazil.
Yeah, that too.
Aldo's gonna be fired up.
Definitely. Yeah. Actually, it was scheduled for I think early August, and I think Aldo got injured, and it was scheduled to be in Sacramento, and now it's in Rio. So Chad Mendes wasn't that happy about it. I heard in an interview. Of course, obviously not that happy to Brazil again.
Yeah.
But in such a close fight, for me, it's always a big point that Mendes has more ways to win the fight. He can go for takedowns, he can strike, and all that Aldo probably will do is trying to keep it standing and knock him out, or just hit him with leg kicks or whatever. And this has just more ways to either to win a round or to even finish the fight. He has a little more possibilities, I guess. But
yeah,
that being said, I'm still favoring Aldo a little bit, because I feel like if someone pressures Aldo, he will be forced to be more aggressive. And Aldo being aggressive is very dangerous.
Yeah, so, that's where he's his best.
Oh yeah. So if Mendes pressures him and forces him to really get into a fight, I feel like Aldo will be more aggressive this time, and maybe finishing him again. So who knows? I'm picking Aldo this one. Not sure how it will go, but It's like a 50-50, but a slight edge to Aldo for me. Just
I'll go with you then.
close.
It's just too close.
It's such a close fight. I'm really looking forward to this one because UFC been on a little bit of a break, 2 weeks, which is a long time nowadays. They have so many events and then they have a 2 week break. Feels like forever.
Yeah, I've had a hard time keeping up with some of it, like I could, or like I was, for a while. But I've been training a lot more now. My kids are back in school, so I've been having to do a lot more, dad stuff, and so obviously something's had to go from my time, and so I haven't been able to follow like I could. Plus, there's been like so many more fights and everything, but yeah,
It's a little
I'm,
bit too much what they're doing. People
yeah,
can really keep up with all the, especially when they do like 2 cards on the same day. One starts here at like 6 p.m., then the next one starts at 2 a.m. You're like sitting there from 6 p.m. until like 6 a.m. if you want to watch it all, which is fucking crazy.
yeah.
Putting on a big amount of cards nowadays. So, how often do you train actually with Henzo still? You go to New York sometimes there, or
No, I haven't. I was kind of hoping to this month, and then I found out about the Sakuraba thing, and I know he's been training a lot, and then they're having like the World Jiu Jitsu Expo somewhere that he's gonna be at, so I wasn't able to. And then we'll have the holidays and stuff. But there's a jiu-jitsu tournament being held at his academy in April of next year. It's a Grappler's Heart tournament. It's a tournament for disabled grapplers who
oh yeah,
want to compete, maybe haven't been able to compete, at the level of a tournament, with able bodies or whatever. Um, so it's gonna hopefully be a big event. They're gonna have some seminars going on that weekend, so I'm really looking forward to that. But um, I'm hoping maybe somewhere in the beginning of the year I could get up to Henzo's uh, and do some training before then.
oh yeah, that just shows how awesome Henzo is, doing that kind of tournament.
Yeah.
He's really trying to open jiu-jitsu up for everyone, no matter what your condition is, or you know just trying to make it as easy to get into for anyone really.
Hmm.
So that's awesome.
I've found quite a few other disabled athletes doing jujitsu. There's more of me out there. There's a couple purple belts that are in wheelchairs. One has a spinal cord injury. He hasn't competed, but he still trains. Another guy's a purple belt. He competes a lot. He does well. But yeah, there's quite a few disabled jiu-jitsu athletes out there. It's pretty cool.
I think it's really awesome how you like on Twitter, on Instagram and stuff. A lot of pictures on there, like telling people that it's possible to still do what you want to do and just don't give up and keep going, and you'll somehow find a way to make it fun for you and to make it work. Some people might. I mean, when you train, there must be a lot of points where things don't work out right away. You might get submitted a lot, or to get good at those techniques that you're doing, like when you're in a bad position, there must be a lot of how do you say, a lot of losing to get there, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I got smashed a lot. Henzo said, to become the hammer, you have to be the nail first, basically.
oh yeah,
And yeah, I spent probably more time as the nail than most. But I loved it, and it just was. It was better than not training,
Mm.
and I knew that eventually I would find ways to overcome what they were doing. You know, it was a little more about just showing up every day and not worrying about the big picture.
Yeah,
That kind of got me through that. Yeah.
that's where a lot of people who start jiu-jitsu, they just can't handle the losing and being dominated in the beginning. And
Yeah.
it's even more so for you to overcome that. It really shows like how strong you are, how strong your will is, and just to keep doing it and get good at it. I mean, you're a blue belt now on the Henzo. That means a lot, and it's like it proves that you really overcame, all those obstacles.
I do well rolling.
Mm.
I do. It makes me feel good that I get some taps on some upper belts. I've tapped a
Yeah,
couple purple belts,
that's awesome.
and and but I don't keep track of who I tap or whatever. But I just I keep track in my mind of what techniques work
Mm.
that I do and what doesn't, and um, it makes me feel good to know that I'm very competitive, with the people I roll with, and so yeah, to me it's just a big testament to jujitsu. But yeah, I'm not really the type of person to take a lot of pictures of myself and post. A lot of people like selfies or whatever, but um, so to post all the stuff that I do is kind of not me, but I do it because I know that there's so many people out there who see it and say, "Man, I can draw that.
Yeah,
I
it's
can do
very
that."
motivating for people. It's
And
awesome.
yeah, I definitely see the importance in it, and I love hearing that you know someone's always wanted to try, but they were worried about this or worried about that and saw that I was doing it, so they went and checked it out, and now they're hooked. You know, it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
a good thing.
no excuses. No excuses not to start. At least try it out for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. And my daughter, you know, she's always my motivator. She's
She's
we
doing
train all the time.
Taekwondo or karate.
She's no, she's down to just jujitsu now.
Oh, okay.
She she was having she was doing jujitsu and taekwondo, um, but she was having to go 4 days a week, and she finally told me she was like, "Dad, I don't want to go so many days. Taekwondo Taekwondo's okay, but jujitsu's awesome."
Hmm.
So she's just focuses on jujitsu now.
Yeah, must be
And
awesome. Also for her to like have this experience with Renzo Gracie, mm, you know,
yeah, oh
being
yeah,
able to hang out with him, training, must be fucking awesome.
and that's a man. It's important for me to give her as many of these experiences as I can. I mean, I have the opportunity, so I try to take advantage of the fact that I'm here and that I can do what I do, and that the days that I don't feel like training, the days that I feel like shit, or the days that I just having severe pain or whatever the issue is that
Mm.
day, which is most days. Um, it's important that I get up and I go and I do what I do, no matter how I'm feeling or no matter what I'm doing, because there's no better feeling in the world than getting to the gym and feeling like shit. And just I have a lot of issues related to my spinal cord injury, but as soon as I get on the mat, it all goes away.
Oh yeah.
I don't think about any of it. It's like the best therapy ever.
You know what? John Jack Machado on Eddie Bravo's podcast a while ago, he said to Eddie, because Eddie was like talking about conspiracies, UFOs and shit like that. John Jack
Uh-huh.
Machado was like, if you're on the mat and you're rolling and you think about UFO, you get tapped. So that's what it is. You don't have space in your mind to think about anything else than what you're doing at that exact moment. That's just
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu if you're competing or rolling. No other. It's very very relaxing for me to do that.
definitely.
Focus on that and just like Hickson Gracie says, invisible jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
where there's so much more to it than just technique itself, like feeling and just flowing and reacting to your opponent's movement, and it's so much more than just when you drill techniques. It's good to learn the technique itself, but then there's so much more to it that you just takes a long time to get this kind of element of jiu-jitsu. I mean,
Yeah.
to get there. I mean,
I remember when I was,
well,
just
yeah,
first
yeah.
starting rolling and everything, and my coach would be like, "Relax, relax," and I'm like, "I am relaxed." And now when I roll, I can roll for 2 hours in class,
Mm.
without gassing out. Whereas then, I could roll for like 10 minutes, and I was just everything was blown.
Holding your breath,
And yeah, and so now, I roll with like new guys just starting and everything, and I'm like, holy shit, this is how I was. It was like not relaxed.
Yeah.
They're like breathing hard and forcing everything, and I'm like, man, I really have learned a lot. If I've not learned anything else, I'll learn how to relax.
Oh yeah. So message of this podcast: BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is for everyone. Just try it out, see if you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, just keep going, overcome the first couple months, and you're gonna get good at it. You get some submissions in, you tap some people out, you're gonna feel good about yourself, and no matter if you're getting dominated a couple times, submitted 10 times, and you get one submission on someone, it makes up for all of that, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So let's wrap this one.
It's something that you can have in your life that you can get better at every day.
Oh yeah, that's a big point of jiu-jitsu. So let's wrap this one up, and just a quick shout out to Danny Pin from Australia for hooking Don't Fake the Funk up and putting it on iTunes on his podcast network. So thank you, Danny. You're the man. And I'm putting this gonna be on YouTube and on iTunes under Don't Fake the Funk. So check it out, episode 20. Thank you for everyone who listened, because I just saw that we got over 1,000 downloads on iTunes already. So that's pretty amazing to me. I didn't expect that. So thanks to everyone who listened. And next time Lucas will be around again, I hope. And thank you, Brian, for coming on again. Been an honor and awesome to talk.
Thank you. Can I shout out to my sponsor, Jiu-Jitsu Saved My Life,
Hell yeah.
Henzo Gracie. Thank you, Chael Sonnen, for calling and singing my daughter happy birthday a few weeks ago.
He did.
And yeah. And Eddie Bravo. I would love to sit down with Eddie Bravo and duct tape his legs together so he can't use his legs, and see what kind of crazy shit he could come up with in my situation.
Wow. Yeah, this would be huge for his game, if he couldn't use his legs, that would be for his game.
Yeah.
Change up a lot.
And yeah.
So
thanks
for
having me on always.
And see you next time on Don't Fake the Funk.
Most definitely.